Hello. My name is Dr. G from Florida Concierge Medicine Wellness in Hollywood, Florida, and I want to welcome you to our very first G-Style lifestyle modification counseling session here, born out of a need, a necessity, because, hey, man, it looks like we have quite a bit of folks who are needing and wanting and begging and asking for more information on how to make the necessary changes in their life. Right? We need we need to get more information in order to make better decisions, and that's basically one of the things that we do here at Florida Concierge Medicine and Wellness in general. But I found with our YouTube page and the recent influx of questions and comments that are coming in on my various posts, that it looks like lots of people are on weight loss medications or on their weight loss journey, and which is a great journey, and they need to be on this journey for whatever reason it is, and we'll get into that, but don't have quite enough of coaching, don't have enough information from whoever it is that's giving them the medication, don't have the right guidance on what to eat, what not to eat, run on these medications. And in the broader sense, I'm sensing a lack of understanding of what exactly the goal is, what we're looking to do, what we're looking to achieve from being on this weight loss journey. I think the goal, and I'm looking at the comments, and in my comments, I'm finding that a lot of people are focused on the actual number, the fact that they want to lose weight, and they don't, most people don't understand that it's not just the weight loss number that's important. The journey on how you get there is absolutely paramount. It should be top of mind, because when the medications come off, now we're all by ourselves. We're by our lonesome. And so what have we done in order to change the habits? And that's the real, meat and potatoes of lifestyle modification. It's actually not weight loss changing. It's actually not exercise, getting a new fitness trainer and exercise changing and increasing your activity. Not any one of those two things alone. It's actually behavioral change. What are the things that you need to do in order to become a better version of yourself with better habits that you can sustain for the long term? What can you do to be a better you for the next, not the next 6 months, year, for the rest of your life? Because these behavioral changes are actually what are going to sustain whatever it is that you've decided. Now, we have a tendency to think to feel lifestyle modifications are solely needed for weight loss, but that's also not true. That's not true, right? We use lifestyle modifications for many diseases, many issues that come into the doctor's office require things and require things to change in a patient's life. And we make these small lifestyle modifications without really explaining to the patient what we're doing. For instance, we have a lot of information that shows, some people a lot of patients are salt sensitive for blood pressure. So, we have the DASH diet, and we recommend low salt. That is a lifestyle modification, behavioral change, something that you can do for the long term that will affect your health, and in the sense of high blood pressure coming down and lowering your cardiovascular disease risk, like, heart attacks and strokes. So yeah, that's a small modification to your change, like change the way you season your food, and it's going to improve your health in this aspect. That's a lifestyle modification. Those are little things that you can do that'll improve your outcome for whatever disease process it is. The big thing on the elephant in the room right now, especially on my channel, is not especially on my channel, but just everywhere. There are people who are changing the way they eat and changing the way they work out with these medications, these GLP-1s are, and you see it in my game changers video. Our GLP-1 agonist medications, game changers. They are game changers. Since the 1950s, we haven't had medications that are this effective with this little amount of side effect profile and not as severe as other medications. So people are going to that. Obesity is a big problem in this country and abroad. I've had been lucky enough to interact with people from Germany, from Brazil, from Canada, who are also looking for guidance on how to, manage these medications, and they're on their weight loss journey. So what I want to impress upon everyone who is watching is, the main thing for lifestyle modifications is not the actual number. It's part of the journey, but the actual the goal is to change your behavior. Change your behavior. And what are the things and the reasons that you get a team together? If you look at some of my team video, what you should do in order to start your weight loss journey or any other modification journey is to form a team around you. And the team should, for healthcare should include a doctor to give you, numbers and give you an evaluation and let you know exactly what your risks are and if there's any risk for hurting yourself when you're making these modifications, or which modifications you should be making, and what the benefits will be. That's number one. An accountability team, and that's what I hope to grow here is accountability, a community of people who are on this weight loss journey or a lifestyle modification journey, not just weight loss, and accountability, helping each other stay on the road and not fall off the road and catch a flat on the shoulder of the road and get left behind. So accountability is great. Mental health also, to not neglect the mind, body, and soul aspect of lifestyle modification changes is something that I press upon all my patients here in my office, and I'm going to teach that and encourage you all. Everyone should have a mental health counselor of some sort. It doesn't have to be a professional mental health counselor, someone that can help you cope with the stresses of making these behavioral changes. Whatever it is, smoking, hey, that's another behavioral change. These are there. It's all over the place. It just so happens that obesity right now is front and center as one of the bigger behavioral changes that we diseases that we are making behavioral changes for. That's number one. But I think that all aspects of medicine, when I have a patient sitting in front of me, the first thing I think that I can do for them before I say prescribe them a medication, the first thing I think is, how can a behavioral change, a lifestyle modification, a G-style modification change, will that be beneficial in this case? Even if it's not beneficial in that specific disease process, it still should be taught because it's still the basis of health, right? Making sure that all aspects, mind, body, and soul, are covered and in a healthy manner, and patients have healthy habits that they can maintain with ease through their life is absolutely, absolutely important. So, I think that, one of the things that, on my channel that clicked for a lot of people is when we posted our 11 things you should do video, which got a lot of engagement, a lot of questions. And what struck me the most, again, is the fact that a lot of people in the comment section were thanking me because they hadn't got any of this advice from either their doctor or whoever it is that told them or put them on the medication. Some people are getting it are getting it from the lady behind the counter at the dollar store, which I said that's one of the things you should not do. Right? Don't do that. Get it from get your medications and your advice from someone who is qualified. Right? That's the first thing that you should be doing as a person who is looking for healthcare advice. You should get it from someone who is qualified to give you the advice and who has your best interest in mind, not their interests. So I said a mouthful, but it's basically to lay down the foundation. I want it to be clear what the G style lifestyle modifications, what it entails, and what you're going to get out of tuning in to these to these calls with me and the community that we're going to grow here at on my channel. So got a question coming in asking if I'm in another state, how do I know if someone is qualified? Well, first off, that's the beauty of it all, right? This is counseling from advice. It's not medical advice. I can't give you medical advice from state to state, but I can give you advice on how to, what behavioral things. Hey, well, what are the things that why have you become out of shape? What are the things that you identified as is it out of shape? Is it because you just don't like to work out? Is it because there was did you fall into a deep depression? Do you have a bad relationship with food? Do you go to food for the wrong reasons? And how can we overcome these barriers and these problems to make the proper lifestyle modification changes? That can be done no matter where you are, right? I'm sure that eventually, hopefully, we will have folks who have contacted me to have me be their doctor, which I can't do across state lines because of telemedicine restrictions. I'm in Florida, and Florida right now is not one of the states where we can go across state lines to be your doctor. I can't prescribe, and I can't, send you for evaluate. I can't evaluate you from a medical standpoint, but from a counseling standpoint, hey, do you know how to calculate your basal metabolic rate? Do you know how to adjust it? Okay, you've hit a plateau. Do you know why you're on a plateau? That's a great one, right? That a lot of our patients are hitting plateaus, and plateaus means you're losing weight at a great rate, and then all of a sudden you come from I jumped on a feed the other day, and the young lady she's showing her weight loss on Manjaro. And she gets every time she gets down to 232 to 220, she gets down to 229, she says, for the weekend, and then comes back, and on a Monday again, she's back up to 234. She's on a plateau. So her body has now readjusted and become more efficient with the amount of calories that she's intaking. So now she's floating around. This is normal fluctuations. If you get on a scale from Monday through Friday, you're going to fluctuate. You're not going to be 175 every single day. One day you're going to be 176, the other day 174, depending on what you eat and what activities you do. But your body has it likes that range, and it's efficient at that calorie intake and the workouts that you're doing. So her workouts are here, her intake is here, and she's just floating in a plateau. And everyone hits these plateaus. So something has to change here. Either your activity level has to go up, your caloric intake can be modified, can be taken down, both. Something has to change to break a plateau. So, those are little things that we can work through on a counseling call. And lifestyle modification is part of that is lifestyle modifications, getting you to be successful at being a healthier version of yourself. And that's, again, it's not just weight loss. That's helping you to get better at your A1C, hemoglobin A1C, which is quite honestly one of the biggest pushes for lifestyle modifications in the last 20 to 30 years came from a study that was done for diabetes, where they put about more than 3,200 patients or subjects through some lifestyle modifications, put them on a strict, this is what you need to do that, do this, do that, do that. None of it was medication. The only medication I think some of the patients were on was metformin, and they watched them. They watched them and see how they did they lose weight? Did the A1C improve? Did their blood pressure improve? Across the board, for the most part, better numbers for everyone, because they were taught exactly how to eat, how to work out, how to make better decisions when it's time to put calories into their body, or when it's time to move their body versus staying sedentary, and finding out what are the little behavioral quirks that every single person has to get past those hurdles, to get through, to get over them, crash through them if you need to, is absolutely coachable, and it's actually absolutely learnable. Like, do you need, all right, another question. Do I need to have lifetime lifestyle modification? The beauty of that is no, right? I don't think so, unless you have a new condition that you need specific direction on. But I don't think that's something. I think it's actually absolutely something learnable. The problem has become that we as healthcare professionals in general, doctors, specialists, everyone, we just don't have the time to sit with each individual patient to teach these things. Which brings me to another post that I saw where, the poster on my page was pretty. She was pretty pissed. Like, right? Why are we? We should be getting the type of information that you're putting out. And I wish more doctors would do what you're doing, and they're not doing the right thing by just giving these patients these medications and not coaching them as to what to do like you're doing. And she actually gave me kudos. I appreciate that. And I understand, and I do feel her pain, the pain of the poster. I don't know if it was a he or she. I don't want to say that, but I do feel the pain of the poster, because it sucks to be on the patient side of the table and not get all of the information you need to make the decisions. But again, if doctors were to take an hour, which it absolutely should be no less than 45 minutes to an hour, to give just the type of coaching to attack different aspects, behavioral aspects, to get through a good lifestyle coaching. Just think about it: an hour every patient, 45. A doctor would see 8 patients a day, and that's without talking about all your other issues, your medications that you should be on, looking at your labs and explaining those things. So if we put that into it, and examining you, of course, and interviewing you, of course. Now we're talking about an hour and a half visit. If we add in hour and a half, almost could be 2 hours if you do it correctly. Visit in an 8-hour day, doctors would see potentially 4 or 5 patients a day. Doesn't make sense. So there's a problem here, right? There's a problem here. And that's where the CDC came out with making lifestyle coaches but right now you can only get certified for diabetes. But there are coaches out there who can offer services like I'm describing to you, on a one-on-one basis. And I'm sure they have group sessions as well. Either one can be greatly beneficial. Obviously, a one-on-one would be directly with you, and you would get I guess maybe double, triple, or quadruple what you would get out of a session where I'm envisioning in the future, smaller sessions, smaller group sessions. And but the key is that doctors, we're they got our hands tied on this one. I would love to counsel every single one of my patients. I try to, and I really do, man. I try to, and I've done that because what I've decided to do is just see less patients a day. I'm not seeing only 4 or 5, but some of these patients have seen me before and gotten a lot of these coaching, so we're already flying. So the other half, maybe I'm giving them more time. It's a process. It's a process here in this office, and I know I'm not unique, but I know I am different than I'm the outlier from most doctors or primary care doctors, because I do take more time to use that coaching aspect. Think about it. In the end, if I spend that time, I invest that time teaching my patients things like this, like what to do and what not to do, how to do it and why, and then what behavioral quirks and things that they have as to why they can't get themselves to do these things. In the end, if I can get through to them, the visits down the line will be easy peasy, because they're going to be more healthy. They're going to be, they're going to have their S together, right? They're going to get everything's going to be together. And we already know people who do have healthy lifestyle modification, healthy lifestyle habits have less disease overall, right? Less disease overall, and they die less. They live healthier lives. So yeah, that's exactly what the value the value of lifestyle modification coaching, especially by someone like me who's been trained in internal medicine, who knows a little bit about, well, a lot of it about different organ systems and how they go together, how they work together to make you and a healthy version of you, or an unhealthy version of you. When things are not going right, what are the things that we can do to modify that, or to intervene or slow it down, or even reverse the disease process, so that way you can live a longer, happier life, right? Like I said in my other video, I want you to be able to, see sunsets with your wife. I want you to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle, or your son down the aisle. I want you to do the beautiful things in life. And those are the things I want for myself. I want to see my son graduate in different levels. I want and reach a different levels of success, to grow older. And I want to be there, and he's not, having to hopefully not having to push me around in a wheelchair at a younger age, right? Hopefully he's having to push me around in a wheelchair when I'm 105, right? that's the key, right? To live a long, healthy life, to see and be around as long as I can. So I want to make sure. Thank you, Gareth. I appreciate you too, brother. I appreciate you too. I really do feel that every single time I get the opportunity to sit in front of my patients, it's an absolute blessing and an opportunity for me to make a change in someone else's life that will hopefully give them healthier, if not years, maybe months, and if not months, maybe weeks, if not weeks, then hours, if not hours, then seconds, healthier time, right? Time to do whatever it is that they prefer to do with their life. If you want to climb Mount Everest, guess what? You got to get yourself together. You have to put in work, and you're going to have to, anyone can do it. We've seen all types of people do it, but those are people who are driven. They've made lifestyle changes. They've made sacrifices, and now those things are habits to them, I'm sure, that they continue on in order to get their body to do these things. Now, not everybody's going to climb Mount Everest. Actually, I met a patient of mine. He's actually from Nepal, and we were talking about this, and he was like, "Yeah, you can do it." I'm like, I'm sure I could if I wanted to, but I don't. I'll be hanging out at the base camp. But even that, to make the trip safely, make the trip out to Nepal, get to a base camp, requires a level of health to do it responsibly, right? So whatever it is that you want to do in life, it's going to require you to have a vessel, and that vessel is the only one you got. You were born with it. With the advents in innovations in healthcare, we have been able to do a lot more, but 90% of this stuff, 90%, is going to require you to put in your work, right? You're gonna have to make changes, if you don't have them already, to have healthy habits that are sustainable. That means eating food, good food, nutritious food, not not overeating just to eat, but eating it for nutritional value as well, right? It tastes, I want you to eat food that tastes great. We all want to eat food that tastes great, but the nutritional value is important. The amount of calories we put into our body is important. The amount of exercise we put out is going to also be very important, not just from a weight standpoint, but also from a standpoint of, hey, cardiovascular health has been shown to be greatly improved with exercise. So here comes a commercial. Let's see if we could get more interaction from the viewership. We've got 10 people online, which is cool. And if you have any questions, I invite you to have questions. I don't want to drone on for 45 minutes and have you listen to everything I have to say. But I do want to cover my approach, and I think it's very important that we do cover the approach. My approach. It's and I've been honing, and I've been getting this down to a science without my patients even knowing. Like I've been, this has been something that I've been growing over time since, before residency, even when I was in Ponce, Puerto Rico. And probably some of the aspects of it, of how I approach each and every patient from a standpoint of getting them to buy into these behavioral changes that will help them to feel better. Even I think that it probably even started in Mexico during medical school, where we were lucky enough to do a lot more than a first-year medical student would do here. So in day one, we were seeing, we were having patient interactions. So yeah, I hold on, got a question. Question is, you touched briefly on the time constraints of PCP. Can you expound on building a healthcare team for someone with type 2 diabetes mellitus taking MJ? Great question, right? Great question. So your team should, first of all, include your primary care doctor, who should know that you are on Mounjaro, and hopefully they can get you the medication prescribed, and show you how to administer the medication. That's going to be the quarterback of the team for you. If depending on how advanced your diabetes is, you may or may not have an endocrinologist, but definitely a primary care doctor should be part of the team. You're the star player, but the quarterback of the team is going to be your primary care physician. Number two, someone that that loves you and will hold you accountable. Right, with love and honesty, right, and not be rough with you and treat you in a way that you shouldn't be treated, but to help you, hey man, I see you eating this. You said your goal is this. Does that help you stay on course? I see you sitting on the couch for the last couple of days. You said you wanted to do this. Does sitting on a couch serve you and your goal? And then if you say, yeah, it does, and they're like, well, lovingly, I disagree. And someone who can challenge you, with love. So accountability partners are important. Now, number three, I think that every single person, whether you're on a lifestyle modification journey or not, should have someone who can serve as a mental health counselor. It can be your clergy person. It can be, a good friend of you who has a very good ear and it gives good advice, or maybe doesn't, is a great listener. Or it can be an actual professional, right? That's part of the team, right? And that's very important to have that. And then if number four, and I think this is one of the most overlooked part of behavioral modification, is to have a community of people who are possibly or most likely in the same situation as you are, meaning they're looking to change their life in some way, maybe in the same way you're trying to change your life, be it weight loss, be it diabetes control like yourself, or whatever it is. If you can find like-minded people who are on the same road, the road is a lot easier to travel. So yeah, those are the four people on the team that I believe that every single person should have on a lifestyle modification journey. And I wholeheartedly encourage my patients to build a team like that. So that is an amazing question. And it touches on another video of mine I've done, but I was looking for it. I don't know. I got to ask my guy where it is. And maybe I'll bring it back out and post it. But great question. Another question. My weight loss is so slow, like a pound a week, and I fast at least 14 hours a day. I only eat about 1,000 calories, sometimes less. I also do about 30 grams of carbs per day. I walk 7 hours. I walk 7 hours a day at work. So I assume that you're walking on one of those treadmills, or your work involves walking. So the question is, man, there's a lot here, right? There's a lot here. So, one, I don't know if you're using medications or not. That's a question that that's something that I don't see here on the question. But let's assume you are. Let's assume you are on one of the GLP-1 agonists. and your weight loss is really slow, and you're doing a pound a week, first off, give yourself the grace and the kudos, because a pound a week still adds up. That's still 52 pounds in a year, right? Still 52 pounds in a year. I am concerned. I am concerned about only eating 1,000 calories a day. That actually is way too low. You actually have to will have to increase your caloric intake. I would encourage you to go to it's tdee.net, calculator.net, and punch in your actual numbers, your height, your weight, your age, and your gender, and then put in, truthfully, what your output is. Now, it's important to understand that if you walk at work for 7 hours, is this something that you do all the time? You always walk? That's part of your daily thing? If it is, unfortunately, that's not enough, right? Clearly, because if you are only, we have to come to truth too. Truth is very important when we're doing lifestyle modifications and behavioral change. We have to be truthful with ourselves. And if you believe you are only eating about 1,000 calories a day, first off, we need to measure that, right? We need to measure that. So the science behind this says that if you're eating that little amount of calories, that small amount of calories, you're not losing weight. Typically, you actually, the increase in the calories, you actually increase your metabolic burn. It seems paradoxical, but it is true, right? And especially increasing your protein intake. So walking in and all by itself may not be enough, even the 7 hours a day at work, because it's not. I'm not sure what you do for a living, but if you're not walking and getting your heart rate up, you're just leisurely walking. I don't know how many steps you're getting in. You're not really exercising. It's just walking as part of your job, right? So think about it. If I walk every single day for, as my job for a year, my body's going to count that into my metabolic burn, right? That's going to be part of what I do for my, it's just going to count it in. So now you're not really making any change. You're not going to lose any weight there. You're not, because it's cruising. We're plateaued. You're basically at a steady plateau. Maybe the only reason you haven't completely plateaued is if you truly are eating about 1,000 calories, sometimes less, which is concerning to me. Again, concerning because are we getting enough nutrients into your body? Don't know your height and your weight and everything else, but I would stress going back to the drawing board, because clearly what you're doing is not working. So going back to the drawing board and seeing if really and truly you are eating 1,000 calories per day, and not only that, calculating your TDEE and seeing what you should be eating and getting the right macros in, right? Last thing, not all diets fit for every single person, right? Now, that's what I'm trying to say is not everybody is going to do well on a fast, a 14-hour a day fast. Not everyone. Some people's bodies are different. We're unique, and the machinery. There are grand scheme of things that grand ideas that everyone must abide by. For instance, gravity applies to every single one of us. Every single one of us. There's no one that it can escape gravity. So that's a rule that goes across the board. But then there are people that seem to defy gravity a little bit, right? Michael Jordan could, Sean Kemp back in the day, I don't know that's the words, but Michael Jordan, LeBron James, can jump out of the gym, right? He seems to defy the rule a little bit. He can do something different that many people just can't do. So he's different. So you can't just shoehorn every single person into every single type of diet and say, I could easily, every single patient that comes in here, like every single person is going to be on an 18-hour fast. You're going to lose weight. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Fasting, that might be the problem too. It's ramping down your metabolic burn at your BMR, and you're not losing weight. So maybe, again, retooling this diet, this nutrition plan. I don't want to say diet, in your nutrition, and maybe fasting's not for you. Maybe you are eating more calories than you think. So that's just a broad answer for your question. So yeah. So let me eat another question. Oh man, goodness gracious, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I aspire to be just an honest guy that happened to come from a place where, not a lot of people knew a lot about health. We just didn't have a lot of access to healthcare as far as, information. We had, I was lucky enough, I was privileged enough to be able to see doctors all through my life. There's no way, I had access to a doctor, but I can't say that I had a great relationship with my doctor, right? I looked up to my doctor, and I wanted to, since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I can't say that, we sat down and we knew each other. He knew things about me, or I knew things about the doctor. And I felt comfortable enough to come out from my heart and say things that maybe were bothering me. So I aspire to be that type of doctor. I just, I want to be the change that I want to see. So sometimes it means sacrificing a little bit on other ends, but I think that people come to a doctor's office to be educated on their bodies, not to be told what to do. And we do a lot better. No one's coming here. It's like, well, just tell me what. Well, maybe once in a while, there's a guy who comes in here because his wife makes him come. And it's like, just doc, whatever you say, just tell me what to do. And even then, I educate, right? Because even if I tell you what to do and I don't tell you why you are doing it, in the heat of the battle, when it really, really counts, when you're faced with, the healthy option, which may taste great, but the one that's not so healthy and looks amazing, if you don't have that education piece, you may end up making a mistake, or making an unhealthy choice that may or may not implicate your health going forward. So I take my responsibility as a doctor serious in that regard, in all regard, in all aspects, but in that regard, I take it very seriously. So that's just one of the many reasons why we're doing what we're doing here with these counseling sessions that we're going to continue. I'll be here for next week at the same time. I've blocked out that time, 1 o'clock on Friday. So if you are tuned in right now and you want to tune in and tell a friend to come along, you have the link. It's the same. It's going to be the same link, and on the page, it's going to premiere at 1. So jump on, and we're gonna talk some more. Now, let's go back and talk about point number 1 in the G-Style Healthy Changes program that I've created from Mexico through Ponce, Puerto Rico, through my time at Kendall Regional Medical Center, and here at FCMW in Hollywood, Florida. Point number 1 of the G-Style lifestyle modification channels. A lot of this stuff is going to seem, it is basic. It's basic and simple, right? And simple is good. Don't think things don't have to be profound and complex in order to be effective. Actually, one of my coaches teaches us to one of Einstein's quotes that said, "Make things as simple as possible and not simpler." Right. So that's exactly what this program that we do here is. It's super simple, super easy to make actionable. And you may think it's basic, but if it's complex, you'll never do it, because the basic stuff obviously you aren't doing, or else you wouldn't need any lifestyle modification. So number 1, and then we'll take the last 10 to 15 minutes just talking about this, and I'll take any more questions that come along. But let's talk about point number 1 in the lifestyle modification, G-Style lifestyle modification. Number 1, objectively analyze the problem and take ownership. Wow, super simple, right? Whatever the problem is, I don't like the way I'm overweight, or I smoke too much, or I want to quit smoking cigarettes, or I want to quit drinking, or I want to improve my nutrition. I want to improve my hemoglobin A1C. I want to improve my blood pressure. I want to improve my cholesterol. Whatever the health issue is, objectively, sit back, analyze, and see what the problem is, right? And take ownership of it. What parts of it, if not all of it, whatever, what percentage of this problem is yours? The whole pie. It's your problem, right? All of it is yours. So take ownership of it. Grab it by the horns and say, this is my problem. This is the problem, first off. And how did I get here? How did this happen? And I'm going to hold on to it, right? Take ownership of it, right? Take ownership of it. So objectively analyze the problem and take ownership. Taking ownership has been hard, but since starting Terzip, I've not and not fighting with my mind and food noise, it's becoming so much easier. Amen, sister. Amen. Right? But you actually moving on to and seeking out the Manjaro, the medication, is actually analyzing the problem. You've recognized that weight is the problem, right? And you see in the way the medication works, one of the things one of the great things it does for weight loss, it quiets down food noise. So you understand that food noise is your problem. You've analyzed it objectively. It's the problem. You've taken ownership of it by starting the medication, and I'm presumably starting to change your nutrition and now changing your exercise, your relationship with exercise, with help. I didn't say that you can't get help, right? It's amazing that Manjaro has been able to, Zipatide has been able to do this for you, right? So you've done step number 1 before you met me, right? And this is great. This is good. You are on your way. There's more, right? There's more to this. So do not feel as though the Manjaro is going to leave you high and dry, because you are going to go through the rest of the steps. And while we go through those steps, we are going to build new behaviors that is going to help you quiet you, not the Manjaro, quiet the food noise on your own. It works. It works. It's not something I created. These are things that they've proven in other aspects, especially again the CDC made their lifestyle, the DPP is called. They have a program where they actually have lifestyle modification coaches, but they're directed, I don't know why, directed only to diabetics to get into the program, which is crazy. But I don't see why that type of coaching and that type of approach to any one of these modifiable, these diseases that have to do with, behavioral problems or behavioral issues, I should say, not problems, behavioral issues, meaning what we do is what affects the disease, right? What we are doing or not doing in spades is what affects the disease process or creates the disease process even. So that's a behavioral thing. So we need to change the way we move, and if you can't change the way you move, then you got to figure out, and you want what's on the other side, right? You really want it. You've analyzed it. Let's jump into rule and step number 2, which is set a goal, right? Now you've set your goal. You've analyzed it. You've taken ownership of it. And now you set your goal. This is my goal. I want to lose X amount of pounds. I want to fit in this dress. I want to climb Mount Everest. I want to be at the base camp. I want to go around the world and not fear getting sick and hike and do all these things. I want to be there holding hands with my wife or my husband when we're 99 years old, however old, and feel great as far as, we can and feel great. That's the goal. So then now what's the barrier? What is it like? Food noise. Okay, well that's it. Let's see what we can do about this, right? Let's step number 3. What can we do about this? What are the barriers? Understand the barriers, and Missy, turn off food noise in the state of in the aspect of weight loss, right? For people who have that as a as a problem, right? So I love that question. I love that question. Yeah. So actually, it wasn't a question. It was a statement, and I love it for you. And I love it for you. You know, the medication is helping you quiet the food noise because you're fighting two battles right now. Probably you're probably fighting a battle for getting your exercise where it needs to be and dialed in right, and getting that habit together, because exercise and moving your body is absolutely a habit, a good habit that you can hone in and actually, you know, dial in and create, just like you created the bad habit of, well, not you, but we create bad habits by sitting on a couch and not doing anything, right? And not doing anything, you know, and that feeling so good, which it shouldn't, but it does. And, you know, so you can create good habits. The studies have shown that good habits take about 21 to anywhere to 60 to 65 days in order to create, right? Just like it says, in order to become proficient at any one thing, especially in sports. I love to say this in sports, but it's any one thing. Got to put in 10,000 hours, right? 10,000 hours to be a pro, to be an expert at something, right? So you've got to put in, for a habit, which is, you know, thankfully not 10,000 hours, but anywhere between 21 days to 60 days of doing it and being consistent and just doing it, right? So yeah, I've blown through the first three. So objectively analyze the problem and take ownership of it. Number 2, set a goal. Number 3, understand your barriers to success, and find a way to deal with that barrier. What is it? How I need to motivate myself to do these things. What is my barrier? Is, you know, why can't I? You know, I really don't like getting up in the morning, and the problem is I don't know. I feel as though I can't put on shorts, this is that. I can't go to the gym, and okay, well then, put the shoes right there by the bed, sleep in them clothes to work out, and don't go to the gym. Turn on the YouTube. Stay at the house. You don't have to drive anywhere. Stay at the house. Do it right there. Understand that barrier, right? Understand that barrier and get to it, right? And attack it, and understand that you can absolutely create new habits all on your own. Here goes another one. Let's see, I've stopped overeating. I've stopped fighting with my mind. It's like I can live healthy now, and it's not a struggle. It's life-changing. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is life-changing to be able to, you know, food noise and this. I'm glad that it's becoming more and more of a common thing to for people to talk about. Food noise is real. It is absolutely real. That voice that says, "Man, you're hungry. Man, you're hungry. Man, you're hungry. Get this. Get that. Get that. Get this snack. Get this snack. Get this snack." Until you give in, is absolutely, positively a thing. So I'm happy for you. Now the next step is to replace that habit, replace that voice with a voice saying something else. You don't need to have that. You don't need to have that. You don't need to have that. You are doing fine with it for all this time you're in Manjaro. You're fine with it. Replace it with a new healthy habit. If you do have food noise and it's still there, replace it with a healthier food. A lot healthier food, right? That'll fill you up more, and, you know, replace that habit with a healthier one. And that's lifestyle modifications in a nutshell. It's not rocket science. We're not coming out. We're not recreating anything. Make it as simple as possible and not simpler, right? We're not you know, not reinventing the wheel here. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna find exactly what I'm saying in a lot of places, you know, in business, in mental health, in a lot of places, right? But we are honing in, and we're getting dialed into, you know, modifying our bodies and making our bodies as tip top shape as possible. God forbid something comes along and, you know, and comes for us, be it whatever, you know, there's things that happen to good people and bad, you know, people in general that, you know, they're unexpected. We don't know. We don't know what's in store for us in the future. But let's be at our best health level when it comes. You don't want to be down here, the worst health level, because then that's closer to 0. We want to be closer to 100. So if it knocks you down 20, you're only at 80, right? If you're at 20 and it knocks you down 15, you're at 5%. Like you don't want to be there, right? So like we say, be ready, don't get ready. So yeah, we want to be as ready for what life has to offer us as possible. So that's my whole philosophy on all this. Number 4, address fear. Assess your ability or inability to address the problem and why. So got to the barrier. So what is the fear? What is the fear? I disagree. 80% is what we eat. I think it's like 90. But yeah, it's like 80%. 80% is what we eat. 10%, the exercise and how we, how our minds work with that stuff. So yeah, I don't know what the percentages are, but what we eat is very important. I agree. So number 4, when we got to the barrier, we see what the barrier is. Now let's address that fear. What is the fear of getting through this barrier, right? If it's for smoking, if I stop smoking, I'm just going to go all, I'm going to go through the withdrawal and I'm not going to be able to function at work. And it's like, address this fear, address it. Is this true? And if it is true, then there has to be something that can mitigate this while we come off of that bad habit. For getting in the gym, it may be a fear of, hey, if I get in the gym, I'm afraid how people are going to look at me and how you're going to do this, or the pain that's going to come with the first couple of weeks getting in the gym. I'm so fearful of that pain. Let's address that fear, right? You don't have to go to the gym initially. You don't have to go to the gym at all, right? So is that a true fear? It may be, but do we have to go to the gym? Is that the only place that you can get your exercise in? No, that's a lie, right? You told yourself a lie. You believe that lie, and you're stuck where you're at. So yeah, addressing your fears, objectively, and seeing how you can get through that barrier is absolutely necessary, because you absolutely have barriers to whatever it is your goal is. If you've had this goal to lose this weight for this long, there is a barrier there. And if you really, truly, want it, then there's a barrier there. There has to be, right? Or else you really don't want it, which is facing truth, right? You have to face the truth is, I think I want it. I tell myself I want it here and there, but I really don't, or else I would face that, whatever that issue is, to get to that goal. So yeah, absolutely face that fear fearlessly, face that fear, stand up 10 toes down, and go get it. See what it is and how you can manage that, how you can massage it so that you can get what you want. Right? And what we want is what's on the other side, that goal that we set in number 2. That's what we want. So face the fear that is telling you lies about how you cannot reach that goal because of this thing. That absolutely is fear, because there are people all around you. There are people all around you reaching their goals without a problem. Well, maybe not a problem, but they're reaching their goals, right? Everybody has their own issues, right? So it's very important to face fears, and you're going to have new fears as the process goes along. There's not just one fear. There's almost never just one fear. There's going to be more fears, because you're going to reach new heights and new goals. You're going to set more goals, and then you're like, man, how can I? There's going to be more fears, but you're going to be better and better at addressing them and telling yourself the truth to beat that fear and reach your goal for health, for a better health, right? So very important. And the last one that I'm going to share today, there's 10. Of course, 10 is perfect enough for all these lists, but number 5, what I'm going to share, and we've actually addressed this before some of the folks have gotten on here, but at the earlier, is to form a unique team. Form a unique team, and I spoke about those 4 people on the unique team, and share your goal with people you trust, and that's part of the team as well. But it's absolutely, even if they're not close to you all the time, you have that one accountability part. You can have 10, people that you share this with, people that you trust. yeah, there's another quote that comes to mind, and I love this quote, and I love it. Truth without love is cruelty, and love without truth is hypocrisy, right? You want people that are going to give you truth and love when they're giving you in feedback or helping you along this journey. You don't want someone who is going to be cruel to you, and you definitely don't need any hypocrites in your circle. So those are a couple of things. I mean, I'm kind of like one of those guys that I live by these cheesy things, right? These cheesy quotes, but these little things I lean on a lot to help me get through my fears and my barriers, right? So affirmations are absolutely positively necessary, right? So that you don't fall victim to that lie and that thief and that destroyer that can creep into your mind and tell you that you cannot do what you can absolutely do, and which is get control of your health. There's no reason why food noise should dominate your life. You are the controller. You have analyzed this problem, and you're going to take care. You're going to grab by the horns and take ownership of this. Not food noise, not any other fear that's keeping you from your goal. So yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got on deck. I'm going to continue to tune in at 1 p.m. on Fridays for the Dr. G Style Healthy Changes Lifestyle Modification program. Counseling, community, all that. It can be, weight loss if you have it, hypertension if you have it, it as a goal, hypertension control if you have it as a goal, blood glucose control if you have it as a goal, whatever that falls into line that health lifestyle modifications can absolutely affect those three things. And we know that cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of Americans. I don't know, that thing's running undefeated for the last 20-30 years, easy more. and the drivers of that in this country is heart disease, obviously, hypercholesterolemia, obesity, and diabetes. That's the list, right? Those are the drivers. Cardiovascular disease, meaning heart attacks, strokes. Neurovascular disease, but same thing. Vascular disease is a killer, and we can definitely, and the evidence is clear. We can definitely do something about this. You can do something about this that may or may not need medications. I'm not saying everyone is just going to, nutrition and exercise, all of their issues away all the time. But there's no doubt about that you have the opportunity to improve it, and in many cases decrease the need for higher and higher doses of medications or multiple medications to control something like diabetes or control something like type 2 diabetes and control something like high blood pressure. So we're going to continue this good mission. I'm so happy that we have the folks that we have that jumped on today. I really enjoy doing what I do, and I feel it is a privilege for me to be able to share time and share what I've learned and my experiences with these medications, GLP-1 agonists, and other medications, and my knowledge that I've all the time that I've spent away from my family to share with people. What I've learned is absolutely great, man. I mean, if I couldn't share it as much, it wouldn't mean so much to me. I would feel as though the time that I spent away from family learning would be a waste, right? Honestly. So being able to affect people's lives with just the knowledge that I've been able to amass, which is there's people a lot smarter than me. People a lot smarter than me. But maybe they're working on bigger projects, and so you got me. You got me. But yeah, so on this particular project, but I do feel it comes from my heart. So Thank you for tuning in. Tell a friend. Like and subscribe if you're not on the list, and subscribe and all that stuff. This is the first time I ever said that. You don't have to like and subscribe, but at least come back. Just come on back, and bring somebody with you. Maybe somebody you think that can actually benefit from lifestyle modifications, which is something that it is very hard to find. All right. So with that, that's the first counseling session. Dr. G out. See ya.